How much money would it take for you to stop working forever? What if the number isn't millions, but just $500,000? And here's the shocker. Most people will earn that in their lifetime and still retire broke. Why? Because they never learn the secret. Wealth isn't about buying more, it's about buying freedom. $500,000 invested the right way can cover your bills, give you peace of mind, and unlock choices you never thought possible. Imagine your money working harder than you do, paying you month after month, even while you sleep. That's not a dream. That's math. In this video, I'll show you exactly how this number changes everything. We'll break down why wealth isn't about stuff, it's about choices, and how simple math reveals the truth nobody's telling you. So hit subscribe right now, because if you miss this, you'll keep running in circles while others quietly build a life without work. And trust me, you'll want to be on the right side of the secret. Most people think wealth means a fancy car in the driveway, a big house with too many rooms, and closets full of things they barely use. But here's the reality check. That's not wealth. That's storage. Real wealth is about choices. Do you want to take a year off to travel? Spend more time with your kids? Start a business without panicking? That's wealth. Freedom wrapped in options, not leather seats. Think of it like this. Wealth is the menu of life. The more wealth you have, the more items you can order without worrying about the price tag. The person stuck living paycheck to paycheck is basically at the value menu of life. The person with savings and investments, they're looking at the whole menu, appetizers and all. And honestly, wouldn't you rather be the one choosing dessert just because you can? Here's the kicker. Choices don't always look glamorous. Skipping the new iPhone, driving a reliable used car, or making coffee at home might not earn you bragging rights today, but those choices stack up. They quietly build the foundation for a life where you decide what to do with your time. And isn't time, your own schedule, more valuable than a shiny gadget that's outdated in a year? So the next time you think about wealth, don't picture yachts and mansions. Picture choices, quiet mornings without an alarm, saying yes to opportunities, or simply not stressing about the next bill. Wealth is less about what you own and more about what you can choose. And once you see it this way, you'll start questioning a whole lot of things you thought were needs. Here's where things get fun. People love to complicate money, but let's strip it down to kindergarten math. Take $500,000. If it earns just 5% a year, that's $25,000, about $2,000 a month. At 8%, you're talking $42,500 a year, or roughly $3,500 a month. Think about that. While you're stressing in traffic or dealing with that boss who replies to emails at midnight, your money could be quietly clocking in and working overtime without complaining. Now imagine this. Every dollar you invest is like hiring a tiny employee. Some people go out and buy expensive sneakers. Others hire an army of dollars that work 24/7. Who's really winning? The one flexing on Instagram today, or the one sipping coffee years later while their dollar employees keep sending them paychecks? Be honest, would you rather be the boss with thousands of tireless workers on payroll? Here's a reflection worth chewing on. If your money isn't working, then who is? You are. And how long do you want to keep that up? 40 years? 50? Until your knees start protesting every morning? Money that works for you means you're no longer chained to your job. And if you think $500,000 sounds impossible, ask yourself this. Will the next 18 to 20 years fly by anyway? Because if they will, why not let them leave behind an income stream instead of just memories of bills paid? Picture this. You've got two friends. One has $500,000 invested, living off that steady stream. The other has the same amount in stuff, cars, gadgets, vacations already forgotten. One wakes up free, the other wakes up tired. Which one do you secretly wish you were? That's the power of simple math. It's not about big brain finance tricks. It's about realizing your money can outwork you if you give it the chance. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Someone living happily on $3,000 a month is richer than someone stressed out on $10,000 a month. Why? Because freedom isn't measured by the size of your paycheck, but by how little you need to live well. Think of it this way. The guy who runs a marathon with flip-flops and still crosses the finish line is technically fitter than the one who bought the best gear but quit at mile 5. It's not the toys, it's the stamina. Let's talk cars. Over a lifetime, people can burn through over $600,000 just switching vehicles every few years, chasing that new car smell. That's $500,000 parked in the driveway, slowly resting while you still have to wake up at 6 a.m. for work. Meanwhile, the person driving a solid used Toyota has an extra financial house being built quietly in their portfolio. Which one looks smarter in the long run? The fresh leather interior or the bank balance that makes work optional? And coffee runs? Oh, they seem harmless. $5 here, $10 there. But add it up. $3,000 a year, every year. Over 30 years, that's nearly $800,000 if invested. Imagine sipping homemade coffee in the morning knowing that skipped latte just grew into a beachfront condo. Now ask yourself, what's more energizing, caffeine or financial freedom? The math says freedom tastes better, but it's your call. So here's the punch. Every dollar you spend is either a soldier you send out to fight for your freedom or an hostage you trade for a moment of pleasure. Which army do you want to build? The one that works for you or the one that leaves you broke and exhausted? And if that feels too heavy, remember, nobody remembers how many cappuccinos you drank, but they'll notice when you no longer have to work.
Picture two neighbors, Mike and Daniel. Mike's the kind of guy who buys the newest gadgets, the flashiest car, and dines out 5 nights a week. His house looks great on Instagram, but his bank account is gasping for air. Daniel, on the other hand, drives a used Honda, cooks most of his meals, and invests every spare dollar into index funds. On the surface, Mike looks richer, but Daniel is the one quietly building an empire. Which one do you think sleeps better at night? Here's the key difference. The consumer mindset burns cash like a bonfire. It feels warm for a moment, but leaves you with ashes. The investor mindset plants seeds. Every dollar is a seed that, given time, grows into a tree that keeps producing fruit year after year. One day, Daniel's orchard will feed him for life. Meanwhile, Mike? He'll keep running to the store to buy fruit at full price, wondering why he's always broke. And here's where it gets personal. Ask yourself, are you planting seeds or burning them? Be honest. Because if your dollars aren't working for you, they're working for someone else, usually the company selling you the illusion of happiness. If this hits home, take a second right now to hit the like button. Not from me, but as a commitment to yourself that you choose planting over burning, building over wasting. It's your small public declaration, I'm done being a consumer puppet. Now think of this. In 10, 20 years, one mindset will give you a future where your money pays your bills. The other mindset will give you a future where you're still hustling, tired, and frustrated. It's not about intelligence, it's about habits. And the moment you shift your mindset from spender to builder, everything changes. But the real question is, how long are you willing to wait before you make that shift? Imagine Sarah, a teacher earning a modest salary. Every month, she decides to set aside $2,000 instead of upgrading her lifestyle. Friends call her too frugal, but Sarah knows something they don't. In 18 years, those steady contributions grow into $500,000. And here's the kicker. Those same 18 years would have passed whether she invested or not. The only difference is what she has waiting at the end of the road. Think about it. How many times have the last 18 years flown by? Blink and suddenly your kids are grown, technology is unrecognizable, and your life looks nothing like it did before. The years will slip by no matter what, but you get to choose whether they leave you broke or leave you with a safety net big enough to make work optional. Isn't that a choice worth fighting for? Here's the truth most people avoid. Financial independence isn't about luck or genius. It's about discipline over time. It's the boring deposits made month after month while others splurge on short-term thrills. It's like training for a marathon. Nobody claps for you on mile 2, but they all cheer when you cross the finish line. And trust me, the finish line of independence feels better than any applause. Now ask yourself this. When the next 18 years go by, and they will, do you want to look back with regret, realizing you never started? Or do you want to look back with gratitude, knowing every small step built something unshakable? Because here's the twist. Financial independence isn't some far-off dream for other people. It's a path you can walk starting today. The only question is, will you take the first step? Close your eyes for a second and picture this. Waking up without an alarm clock, sipping your morning coffee slowly, not because it's the weekend, but because every day feels like one. That's the kind of freedom $500,000 working for you can unlock. It's not about yachts or private jets. It's about owning your time. And isn't time the one thing you can never buy back? the ultimate luxury? Think of freedom like a menu of choices. With financial independence, you can pick maybe start that bakery you always dreamed about, go back to school, or travel across the country in an RV. Or maybe the dream is simpler, reading a book on the porch while everyone else rushes to their 9 to 5. True wealth whispers, you don't have to, while everyone else is still stuck saying, I wish I could. And let's be honest, peace is priceless. When bills are covered by your investments, your stress melts away. You stop making decisions from fear and start making them from desire. That's when life opens up. You can say yes to opportunities without asking permission from your boss. You can say no to toxic environments that drain your spirit. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it definitely buys breathing room. And that's what creates joy. Now imagine this twist. You don't just become financially free, you become financially immortal. Your money survives you, protecting your family, funding dreams even after you're gone. That's the legacy. That's the real dream. And once you realize that this isn't reserved for the rich, but possible for disciplined people like you, the vision becomes electrifying. But here's the question. What good is a dream if you don't start chasing it? Here's the part most people ignore. Building wealth is only half the battle. Keeping it is the other half. Think of it like building a castle. If you don't build strong walls, the first storm or enemy knocks it down. Diversification is those walls. Spreading your money across stocks, bonds, real estate, and even cash reserves means no single blow can ruin your future. Who wants to spend 20 years building a fortune only to watch it vanish overnight? Picture your investments like a table with 4 legs. If one leg breaks, say the stock market crashes, you're still standing because the other legs hold you up. A consumer puts all their weight on one leg and panics when it wobbles. An investor builds a steady foundation, knowing life will throw curveballs. Which table would you rather eat dinner on? The shaky one or the one that stands strong through decades? And let's not forget inflation. It's the silent thief sneaking into your house at night. If your money isn't growing faster than prices, you're slowly losing ground. That's why conservative withdrawals, around 6 to 7%, paired with growth-oriented investments, keep your wealth not just alive, but thriving. Add Social Security or pensions into the mix, and suddenly your financial safety net looks less like a tightrope and more like a trampoline. Now pause and ask yourself, what's your biggest financial fear? Losing money, running out of it, or not having enough for your family? Drop it in the comments because your answer might not only help you, but also spark a conversation that helps others. And who knows, you might discover you're not alone in that fear.
Here's the part nobody wants to hear. Most people aren't broke because of their paycheck. They're broke because of their mindset. Lifestyle inflation is the sneaky villain. The moment a raise shows up, they upgrade the car, move into a bigger house, or sign up for another subscription they'll never use. It's like filling a bucket with holes. No matter how much water you pour in, it's always empty. Wouldn't it make more sense to fix the holes first? Now, think about this. Some of the wealthiest retirees aren't executives or CEOs. They're teachers, mechanics, and nurses who mastered one thing: discipline. They lived below their means, invested faithfully, and let time do the heavy lifting. Meanwhile, plenty of high-income professionals end up stressed, broke, and one paycheck away from panic. Isn't it wild that a janitor with patience can outlive the wealth of an overpaid lawyer drowning in debt? Here's the mental flip. Stop asking, how can I spend more? And start asking, how can I grow more? Every dollar has 2 paths. One as a consumer toy, the other as an investor seed. One disappears, the other multiplies. And let's be honest, do you really need another gadget that'll be outdated in 6 months? Or would you rather have your money compounding quietly in the background, buying you decades of peace? So here's my challenge. If your money habits were a person, would you hire them or fire them? Are they working hard, showing up on time, and growing stronger? Or are they lazy, sloppy, and costing you your future? Be brutally honest.
Because until you change the way you think about money, no paycheck will ever be enough. And once you master the mindset, wealth stops being about luck. It becomes inevitable. So now you know, the $500,000 secret isn't about luck or chasing a huge paycheck. It's about discipline, mindset, and letting your money do the heavy lifting. But here's the question only you can answer. Will you keep trading your time for stuff that fades, or will you start building freedom that lasts? Imagine yourself 10, 15 years from now. Do you want to look back in regret that you never started? Or smile knowing your money has been quietly working for you all this time? Because the years will pass either way. The only difference is whether you wasted them or used them to buy freedom. So let me ask you, what's the first change you're going to make after watching this video? Drop it in the comments because your answer might inspire someone else to take action too. And if this message shook you, then you need to hit subscribe and turn on the notifications right now. Why? Because every week we break down the truths about money that schools and jobs never teach you, and missing out could cost you years of freedom. The choice is yours. Keep working for money or start building a life where money works for you. Which path will you take?